This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1555, Comic Talk.
You got it on Wednesday, and you were psyched about it, going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything the geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read. And comics, movies, games, toys, artists, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes, this is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Brian Deeper.
Comic Geek Speak.
All right.
Now see, I could have flipped there and switched the camera, and I totally forgot to do it because I'm
That's-
watching you guys on screen.
That's all right. Welcome to the
Put
show.
my mic down.
Say that again?
Yeah, his mic
Put
is
my mic down.
Yeah. Just real quick, this is our second video effort with the podcast, and we're also integrating Skype in here because we have Brian Deemer on the line. Hello there, Brian.
Hello, pants.
All right. So right now, I think there's a little bit of an echo in there right now. So as always, this is a work in progress. So
Join us as we slide down the learning curve.
yes.
Whee!
So this is our random, all over the place comic talk episode. We will actually start the episode with some discussion on what are you looking like that, my poor Schmurd? You give me like a weird look there.
I am.
Oh, you were anyway.
Well, too late. The camera wasn't on me at the time. So
That's okay. Well, again,
folks at home will have to take your word for it.
well, our priority,
As will I.
Our priority as always is the audio. So since there is a bit of an echo with the Skype, we're gonna have Brian off the top of the show to talk about with Shane and us, if you want to, the recent Star Wars trailer that debuted, I guess, out in Celebration a week ago.
Did you watch the
No,
trailer?
I did not watch it.
Okay, because I didn't think you would.
No,
and I was
I-
surprised you were going to sit here and listen to the
Well,
talk of it.
I'll do some other stuff while you guys are talking
Okay.
about it. But
All right.
it was all I saw stills on my Facebook feed about that, so I want to get that some discussion there. And then other things. I was at C2E2. We can talk about that. A couple other things. So again, randos. But at the beginning will be Star Wars trailer talk. So we'll get right into it in just a minute. But first, a word from our sponsors. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is brought to you by Geek Nation Tours. Geek Nation Tours is off to New York Comic Geek style this October. They will be headed not only to the uber awesome New York Comic Con, but also will be exploring New York City through a geek's eyes. Tour participants will see the regular New York City tourist locations like Hell's Kitchen, Central Park, and Times Square, but they will even stop by the fictional address of the Fantastic Four, where Uncle Ben was shot, and even the Frick Museum, the inspiration for the Avengers Mansion, the Daily Bugle, and much, much more. They even will be hitting a couple of comic book shops in the area, like Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, as seen on Comic Book Men on AMC. Oh, I made that wrong there for a second. And the tour goes from Tuesday, October 6th to Monday, October 12th. Now, what is included? All accommodations, all transfers, entry fee to the Comic-Con, which of course is going to be a tough ticket to get in New York, Top of the Rock viewing area, a New York by foot tour, all taxes, Metro Pass, a welcome dinner, well, you never knew who may show up at the welcome dinner, a Hell's Kitchen dinner, and I don't know about Jeddo's going to stop by, I'm not going to promise that at all, lunch at the downtown, a farewell dinner, free hotel Wi-Fi, and an exclusive Geek Nation Tours New York Comic-Con bowling shirt. So go to geeknationtours.com for this October's New York Comic-Con package. And, as an added bonus, this episode is also brought to you by Scribd. Scribd is like Netflix for comics. With a subscription, you'll get access to more than 10,000 comics from Marvel, IDW Top Shelf, Valiant, Dynamite, Archie, and more. They're the only subscription service that gives you that variety, all for one monthly price. On top of that, you'll also get unlimited access to their huge library of ebooks and audiobooks, more than 1 million titles altogether, all available anytime, anywhere. So head over to scribd.com/comicgeekspeak to get started with a free month. Even more importantly, Scribd makes sure you can find your way to comic books you're going to love. They've got hundreds of collections curated by their team of editors, and as you read, they'll tailor recommendations for you based on other titles you've loved, or not. So go to scribd.com/comicgeekspeak right now, and they'll set you up with a free month to get started. That's 30 days of unlimited reading and you'll be supporting this show. So it's a win-win situation. That's scribd.com/comicgeekspeak. All right, well, let's get started with the Star Wars trailer talk with Shane and Brian. Anybody who wants to join in. Yeah, as you also may have noticed if you're watching this, and maybe if you're hearing it, you might notice a difference. We have gone to some lavalier microphones, so we're all clipped up in the studio here, hands-free, wailing around like wailing around like crazy, man. And hopefully it also does sound better. And so again, thank you to the listeners who generously donated to get the video and now some audio improvements to the studio here. And at some point, there'll be more things coming down the road.
We wave around like we don't care.
I still have lots of big plans.
Yes.
So we will, hopefully every episode we do will continue to improve until we finally have a perfect setup.
And I was going to say, I did not hear the echo for a second, but now that I'm talking, I do. So I'm going to be quiet while you guys talk and talk about the Star Wars trailer.
Brian, also an improvement. I want to see a holographic display in the middle of the table at some point.
Tom Martinek's working on that for us. Yeah, that'll be coming eventually. So Shane, did you pretty much giggle like you were 5 years old when you started watching that trailer?
I was at work and one of the guys called me over and said, "Did I see it yet?" And I hadn't. And I put on his nice, comfy Bose headsets, which cut out all sound whatsoever. And I squealed like a little girl. It was fabulous. I loved it. And then I watched it about 10 times that night.
Yeah, I watched it immediately and then called everyone else in the office over, and they all huddled around my computer. And everyone, by the end, people were jumping up and down and squealing. It was amazing. Just when it starts out and the camera's panning across Tatooine there, and you see a downed X-Wing, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool. Look at that old X-Wing." And then it keeps panning, and it takes like a second until you realize the background, and you're like, "Oh my God, that's a Star Destroyer!" And then you just lose your shit from there on. It was incredible. And the Han and Chewie reveal at the end, and Luke's voice saying, "My father has it." So clearly, the ghosts of the Jedi are still around and contributing, and it was more than I could have hoped for.
Well, and that's what I thought too, is that the ghosts of the Jedi probably will be around. One of my boys asked if Yoda would be, and I'm like, nah, he died. He's not. Oh wait, maybe he will be. Maybe they'll have the ghosts on.
Now that voiceover from Luke, though, "My father has it," isn't that a quote from Return of the Jedi? Though?
It is.
So Darth Vader was still alive at that point. So.
Well, he was, but that specific one was re-recorded with Luke as he is now. So to me, he's explaining that to whoever is going to be the next Jedi in the movie.
Whether it's his son or somebody else, right? That was definitely a new quote. It's everything about it. And then the BB-8 droid, the little soccer ball thing, and then the fact that they showed at Celebration that it was real, and that they actually engineered this amazing rolling thing that seems to defy all logic. Some cool magnets and auto gyroscopes and stuff. That's badass.
That was absolutely spectacular. To learn that was a practical effect that they can interact with, and not just something they did for Celebration, not just something that they thought they'd do for fun, that it actually was used in the movie the whole time. That was awesome. And then I saw a video where you can make a little miniature action figure sized one at home if you want. It doesn't do the same things, but it does move back and forth easy enough. That would be cool too. Just that whole idea of BB-8 was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure there are guys in the 501st or the R2 Builders Club already figuring out how to make one of those. I'm sure by the time the movie rolls around, some private citizen will have made one. It might not be quite as good or whatever, but they will have figured it out.
Yeah, that was awesome. I also liked not only the Han and Chewie thing, like you said at the end. I liked that when he says his sister has it and handing whoever it is, which you assume, to me it's a young Leia, that I thought her daughter was cast as something, and people were, what I saw online, were surmising that she's playing a young Leia to go through some of the training or showing of things that is happening. that Luke's handing her what looked like his father's lightsaber, which we all saw chopped off at Bespin in Empire. So
Yeah.
someone had to track that down.
That's awesome. And then you also saw like a completely robotic hand touching the R2 unit, right? So that was pretty sweet too.
Yeah, I totally. Ben and Matt were like, "Well, is that Luke?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going with that's Luke until someone shows me otherwise or I see the movie. That's Luke touching here, and he's talking about this, and it was cool. They were excited to see it."
Yeah, I'm just, I've been excited about the movie since the J.J. Abrams announcement, and then we saw the first teaser, and I got even more excited, and then I saw this trailer, and now I'm completely confident that this movie is going to be everything that we hope it's going to be. Especially the BB-8 thing. See, it seems like a small bit, but it's indicative of the mindset behind the entire creation of this movie. They want to get it right, and they knew, despite whatever it cost to build that droid and engineer it, they knew that it would be a good return on investment because now actors can act against a real person. They can light a scene for real, and they don't have to do all the special effects and have it be a little funky around the edges and look like it's fake because it's not fake. And I'm hoping that they're doing the same with some model work and some with the spaceships and stuff. I'm sure much of it will be CG'd, but I hope that at least some of the scenes they're doing real stuff, just like the original trilogy. So that just tells me that they really want this movie to be good and not another prequel.
Well, yeah, and that's something else. Not that I dislike the prequels. I was just watching all three of them over the last couple weeks because all the Star Wars talk and seeing stuff at Celebration got me a little jazzed. So I put in all of them to watch. I watched Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, and then I watched 1, 2, and 3, and then I watched 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So I watched them two different ways over the last few weeks. And when I say watched, a lot of times I'm listening to it as I'm doing stuff. It's not like I'm actually sitting there watching these, which I've seen 1,000 times. But as much as I like some things about the prequels, and I have no qualms with 90% of what was done, because, again, it was George Lucas's world, so it's his playground. Let him play in it. He wants to change something, he changes it. He wanted everything to be green screen and computer effects. That's what it was. This going back to a practical effect and hopefully models, like what Brian says, is exactly what I was hoping for. That's all stuff that's indicative of what started Star Wars in the first place and started ILM, with everybody coming together and figuring out how to make it work so it not only looked cool, but it was real stuff that they were using, real effects, real explosions, models, everything. Matte paintings. I mean, none of that was computer stuff back then except the lightsaber blade. If that, I mean, that was the only, and the lasers, the rifle fire. But everything else was practical application stuff, practical real world things. So to see BB-8 and hope that so many other things are in the same way, that's just exciting. For as much as I would have loved to have gone into special effects back then, that's just exciting to see again. Something that's tangible, real.
Yeah, I think it's going to make a big difference in the final product. It will shine through, and if it costs more to do, or just more of a pain in the ass to do, whatever, it's worth every penny because Disney's being smart about this. They're kicking off a new generation of what they hope to be billions and billions of dollars in revenue from movie ticket sales and licensing stuff. They need to start it out with a bang and do it right. Otherwise, they've totally screwed up their long-term business strategy, right?
Yeah. Well, and aside from the Star Wars trailer and all the stuff coming up for the movie, I'm loving what they're doing in Rebels. I like the idea of these books coming out that lead up to The Force Awakens, which I'm going to try and at least read a couple of them. Especially,
have they released any of them yet?
I don't think so, no.
Because I haven't been paying attention, so I might try to read them as well.
I know I at least want to read. If they get a good writer, like I thought they did very well with picking the writers for the episode 1, 2, and 3 books, because those I all read before I saw the movie. And that started with episode 1, not thinking I was going to see it within the first week and not wanting to get spoiled by something. I went out and got the book, read it, and, for all intents and purposes, the book was better. It was written by Terry Brooks. It was fabulous. The second book was a little bit better than the movie. The third book I thought was really well intertwined with the third movie. But they all had great writers to them, which was something that was not usually done for movie books. It was all just whatever writer they could get. They're not bad writers in a lot of cases, but a movie book is just not a big, thick, robust, normal novel-looking thing. It's just this tiny little thing that follows the movie. So if they do that for these next movies and whatever interim movies come out, like what was the X-Wing one announced? Rogue?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
You know, all that stuff, that's all cool. And if they do it right, like they started to do some with the prequels in some ways, and they're doing all this practical stuff and all this excitement, I really think they're doing it right. And they're releasing things in a fun way, like all these leaked photos and leaked this and leaked that. You know, if it's not planned, I'd be surprised. Because that stuff's all cool to see, and to get little bits of it just gets you more excited without letting you see too much of it. You can still surmise, you can still talk to your friends about what you think this is or what you think that is. I mean, that's what we all did when we first saw the first Star Wars. Well, what happens now, or what's all this about? It was all that buzz back then, and we were, 10 and younger or around that age then. And some weren't even born yet.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all cool. So I'm all for how they're marketing this, how they're showing things. There's talk of Disney Park having a Star Wars theme park. There's I think one of the cruise ships.
I mean, come on. Sooner or later, Disney's going to build an entire Star Wars world.
Yeah.
It'll be a whole separate park, and we'll have to pay $50 to get into that one too.
And I will pay it.
Now, one thing I've just found out recently that I don't know, maybe you might even know the exact date, at least at the Times Square Toys, or it's going to be a Midnight Madness sale for when the toy line is ready to be released, or released to the wild. Do you know what date that is yet?
That I don't. I haven't seen anything on the toys. And, to be honest, Hasbro and the way they've done their toys has been really disappointing over the last few years. I've cut back on buying toys immensely, but most of the toys are way overpriced now. I mean, you're talking for those 6-inch figures, like what you have for Marvel Legends stuff, you're talking $20.
Yeah.
For the little figures, you're still talking $10 a piece now. That's outrageous. So to me, the big release of the toy, like, yeah, I'll get a BB-8. There's no question about that. That kind of stuff, I'll pick up a couple things, but I'm not dying for it like when Phantom Menace came out, because Phantom Menace was the first time that had happened in how many years, and then we saw what happened with Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Toys everywhere in such a superfluous amount that they're there forever.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I wish I could remember. Well, you worked at Toys for the same time I did, when the at least toys were coming out.
Yeah.
And I just remember we had these things, some of them sitting on the shelves forever. What were those ones called that had the little, from like the Phantom Menace, that have those little clips?
Oh, the clip thing that you could put on top of a...
The chip that you could
the
get
chip
the reader
readers.
for.
The readers we had sitting around and around for ages.
And I mean, that was cool for like the first 10 times to do it, but then what do you do with it after that?
Yeah, but anyway, so I just, from my perspective, I think that's coming up pretty soon. I think probably sometime this summer, I would guess.
Yeah, I would think when the Christmas resets happen.
Maybe like July or whatever, might start seeing that. I wish I knew when it was, like, was it 15 years ago or 18? However many years ago they had the Star Wars.
99.
99 was episode 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm jazzed. It's all cool, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Excellent, gentlemen. Well, I need to depart.
All right.
Also, so that we can stop echoing and it'll be a better recording for everyone else.
All right, Brian.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll
Take
talk
it
to you
easy.
soon.
All right.
Force me with you.
Bye-bye.
And you.
All right, you have him off.
I have him off. He's
Okay.
gone.
He's gone. Now that
Son of a
he's
bitch.
gone. Now that he's going to be talking about it more. How about
Yeah.
that? Yeah, I figured since I didn't think we had recorded since that was out, the trailer.
No, I don't think we had.
Okay.
No.
I know your answer to this, Bert, but have you seen any more Daredevil episodes?
No, no, I shouldn't say that. I watched 4 and 5, or did I watch 3 and 4? I watched 2 more since we talked, and part of that is because I want it to last. Like, it's great to be able to sit down and watch it all at one time, but after those 13 episodes, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because you got how long to wait for Luke Cage and
Iron Fist
and Iron
Jessica
Fist and all them to
Jones.
come
Well,
out.
AKA Jessica Jones is the next one that's
Okay.
coming out.
So it's good to pace yourself.
So-
I agree. Just pretend that this is a regular network season.
Yeah, and if I
ration
don't,
yourself 1 episode per week. Or
I
so.
was pretty good at 1 a night, and then I got off kilter with that because of just trying to do other things as well. And I thought, you know what, maybe once a week or every other week. I got plenty of time. I don't think I'm getting rid of Netflix anytime soon because I'm at lunchtime. I'm listening to an episode of West Wing, which I never watched all the way through, so I started that over. There's so many things.
Just time out for a second. I know you do this all the time. You said you've done this for years. You listen to these TV shows. How can you just listen to them?
Okay, so
How
I
can
can.
people just listen to us?
So I can.
Well, no, but I mean, there's a visual aspect to the television show. Otherwise, it'd be a radio drama.
Well, there is, and there are some things I can't do that with.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to yell at you. It's
No,
just-
no. I can do it with any movie I've seen before. I can do it
Oh,
with.
so you have to actually see it
Yes,
once.
I don't watch anything new like that
Oh,
because
you mean
I get
all
too
right.
distracted wanting to actually watch it.
Uh-huh.
I don't want that. I just want something other than radio to be able to listen to at work or while I'm doing stuff at home. I choose movies and TV shows because there's a lot that I have not seen all the way through or forget because it's been too long, or B, I don't want to buy the DVDs because I think they're outrageous yet. Like all the Star Trek stuff is still way overpriced for how long it's been out there and how much revenue that's all generated. I'm not blaming them for wanting to charge. People are still obviously paying for it because they're buying DVDs yet and Blu-rays. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend $80 on a season of Star Trek or $30 or $40 on a season of Cheers, whatever they would be. So to find it on Netflix and Wings, God, Wings is nowhere to be found. That kind of stuff that I've loved, that I've seen at least once through, that I want to revisit. Even if I don't get through the entire thing of West Wing or Wings or Cheers or any of these other things I have saved. MASH. MASH just came on, and I love MASH, but I've never sat down and watched it from the beginning. I always caught just whatever was on reruns. So some of it's an interest to see how things look now that I'm older, in my perspective now on life and things. So that's why I listen to a lot of stuff like that. I love music and I love songs. I just don't care to listen to it anymore during the day. If I can listen to a show or a movie that I've seen already, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
That's where it all came from.
All right. So this is my first recording in the studio since I got back from Chicago. Went out there for C2E2. You're right there, Shane, with the microphone there?
Yeah. A little behind the scenes, Brian Deemer just sent me a little text saying he could hear a lot of rustling from my mic. So I might want to adjust it, have you lower it just a little bit before I do that.
How about I turn it off altogether?
Whoop, that was the
Wrong one. Sorry, Murd. Can you talk now, Murd?
I don't think you've removed my ability to speak.
Well,
no?
No, I had the wrong. Oh, what fun we have here, don't we?
Oh, yes. Oh, what fun it is to record.
Yes. So anyway, I was in Chicago this past weekend for C2E2, Chicago Comic and Entertainment Exposition, or Expo, if you will. And it was a real quick tour. I actually recorded, and the previous episode this week was my pants on the floor at C2E2, since I actually did a lot of recording there. I wasn't sure how. I had only one person who got in touch, and that was actually Steve Bryant. And we chatted, talked about his Kickstarter campaign for, I just momentarily forgot the actual name of it there, Undead or Alive, Volume 1 by Steve Bryant and Jason Millett. So if you haven't listened to the episode, go back and listen to that. He talks all about that. It's pretty much like an homage to the swamp creatures, if you will. You know, Man-Thing, Swamp Thing, and there's a lot of other Easter eggs in it, but it's gorgeously drawn by Jason, and Steve is the writer behind it. So that Kickstarter actually ends relatively soon. Oh, and on a tangent, speaking of Kickstarters, you see Jamal, are you ready to go there, Shaner?
Yep. We'll try it again.
Okay.
If I rustle too much, people let me know.
You mean me, basically, or him?
Well, I mean, if the listeners hear this and they hear all this...
when they're listening. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's all work in progress here with this.
I'll give you a discreet tap on the shoulder.
No, don't move at all.
Have you seen that Jamal Igle has his Molly Danger 2 Kickstarter started up?
I had not seen that, but now that you've told me.
Yeah, I did see that, and I'm quite excited about
I've already put in my $20.
that. I have to do that yet.
Yes.
So we've got a little longer to do that than we have to support Steve Bryant's project.
Right. Steve ends, I think, as this goes online,
Like a
probably
week and a half from
about
now.
like a week maybe. And then Jamal's just started very recently, as I recall. So check that out. But anyway, getting back to C2E2, as I mentioned, and again, if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me, but it was great to get out to Chicago. I haven't been there since 2013 for the show. and this is a really good show. There's a lot for everybody. There's lots of comics, both the artist alley is huge. There's tons of panels, which unfortunately I didn't really get to any. Oh, you're gonna sneeze, Shane? Whoa, wrong mic. There you go. Bless you, Shane.
Work in progress.
Well, again, you'll have to give like hand
Yeah.
Comic book panels, comic book back issues, publishers. For that side, the entertainment, you've got a lot of the celebrities. You had, of course, Sylvester McCoy was there, the Seventh Doctor.
Nice.
They had a lot of wrestlers there, a lot of people from Walking Dead, and a whole section of, toys, T-shirts, other knickknacks, just all. It was a huge floor, and there was even a lot of empty space on the floor. So this is just becoming one of my favorite conventions that's like that. Of course, I still rank Heroes and Baltimore up there because they're more I look for as pure comic conventions.
Yeah, they're way more comic booky, which there's nothing wrong with all the
but
other ones.
Being in the Midwest, you draw from a lot of different sources
Yeah.
at the show. So I had a very good time, met a lot of listeners, which was very very good because I didn't really have a spot where I was staying. I was just wandering around, and still a lot of folks stop me and say hi. And there were people that I didn't even know were there until I'm watching and reading Facebook and Twitter. Like, you were there? I didn't know even you were there. It's like so. It was a great show. Had a lot of fun. Now there was some news coming out of there. I was in the center of the storm, so I didn't really see too much of like the crazy news. But you guys see any news you wanted to ask about or bring up at all?
Well, it's been announced there's going to be a Drax the Destroyer series coming out of Marvel.
Okay.
So that now I think just about every single core character of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie team is going to have a project of his or her own, be it an ongoing or a limited series. We got legendary Star-Lord out there, Rocket Raccoon, Groot is coming soon, something's in the pipeline for Gamora, I understand, and now Drax. And it's going to be written, speaking of all the wrestlers that were in attendance at C2E2, by someone who used to wrestle under the name of CM Punk.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the wrestling, but my friend Chris Capriglione was out there, and he actually went to his panel on Sunday morning, and I had seen that news come. That I did see that news come across like Facebook or Twitter, and I texted him, "Oh, did you know about this?" And he did not. And when the panel started, maybe like a half an hour later, after I saw that, I heard that he said, "Has anybody heard the news?" Yeah, to people, and some people raised their hands, so he made the announcement, there. So, yeah, that's. Who would have thought you'd see solo series for each member of the Guardians of the Galaxy? That's amazing. And I have been getting Rocket Raccoon, woefully behind on reading it.
I am too.
For some reason, when it started at the same time as Legendary Star-Lord, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it started at the same time. And for some reason, I don't know why, I didn't pick up Legendary Star-Lord.
I didn't either at first.
But so when out in Chicago, I got all the back issues I needed. Some in $1 bins, some in $2 bins. I had to pay a little more than cover price for issue 1. So I have that in my to-read pod because that's his title is part of the Black Vortex event that's going on through some of the X books and some of the other books. And I want to read that before Secret War starts. So I'm trying to catch up on things. So that was a good place to get all those issues. And so I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm sorry, what?
We're trying to figure out. I hear it too, but I'm not even moving, and I hear it.
Yeah, it's strange.
Now,
it's almost like somebody left a microphone out on the beach in the middle of the wind.
It's a work in progress.
I can hear it on the cord.
Well, then don't do that.
Well, I'm not doing that, but someone may be moving a cord around, and that's where it's coming up from.
Put the camera on you. Don't have it on me, for God's sake.
Well, I did that before, and I forgot, and there you were yapping away, and we're sitting here going, doo-doo-doo-doo. Rocket and Star-Lord, Ben is actually reading my Ben, and he's all caught up. And he's going to read Groot. He has no interest in the other ones right now. I tried to get him to read some of the older Guardians, and he didn't want to do that either, which is fine. But yeah, every month he's like, "Is there a new Rocket? Is there a new Star-Lord? Can I have my books? Can I?" And he's also reading the new Doctor, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, that series. But yeah, I've been pretty pleased, and he's keeping up with Rocket and Star-Lord and whatever they cross into. So I have all the Black Vortex stuff as well, and he'll download that soon and then read through that. But I've been pretty excited for him getting into this since he saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
Cool. The one panel I did get to was Sunday, and now you guys probably didn't hear the episode yet, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I talked about it a little bit. It was a Sunday morning panel. It was the Silver Age trivia panel.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
fun.
I've been to a couple of these before. I think out in Chicago is where they're done. I'm not sure because Craig Shutt, known as Mr. Silver Age, wrote a column for, as I mentioned before, the late lamented Comic Buyer's Guide. And all about Silver Age wackiness, and there's a lot in just wonderful stuff and great articles. You should track them down. These might be available online still somewhere. But he moderated a trivia panel, Silver Age, of Mark Waid versus the fans.
Yep. I think I bore witness to this very thing happening at an earlier, probably at C2E2 a few years ago, the one C2E2 that I went to.
Yeah, because we were there with
Yeah,
Peter in
right.
2011.
And that was when you did your comic shop crawl in town, and then you road tripped it out to Kansas City for Planet Comic.
That's correct. So you sort of know what it's about. It's essentially four fans, not picked randomly, fans who've been Silver Age guys for a long time, and
Fans of distinction.
right. So making Mark Waid versus the fans, and they pick a category, or Craig picks a category. There's a toss-up, and there's different points, 10, 20, 30 points as they get harder, and it's a lot of fun. I knew some of the answers. Actually, I was sitting next to John Mayo of the Comic Book Page podcast, and
I'm sure he knew a few answers
he
himself.
knew a few of them, and I think in his pocket he may have been recording it as well, and I believe one of the panelists was recording that as well, so I don't know if any of the audio exists for that online.
That'd be fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's fun, and they have little little clown horns that they beep in with, and I forgot that he did this, but before the actual panel starts, Mark Waid's up on the stage and he says, "Does anybody have any DC or Marvel Silver Age books with them?" I forgot to bring them on because you hold it up and he'll tell you the cover number, like what issue you're holding up. It's like, oh, that's Superboy number 25, and he's like right 95% of the time. It's just amazing. As I think he said before, the man knows way more about the Silver Age than anybody has a right to know, but he loves it, and we love him for it. He's such an entertainer up there. And the other guys on the panel were pretty good as well. And I don't know the exact history, like who has the all-time lead. I think Mark Waid's won quite a lot of these challenges. I don't know if he's undefeated, but he's won quite a lot of them. So as it got down to just before the lightning round, he was actually trailing. Really trailing. They had the lightning round, and there's a guy over there keeping score. And he reads a final score, and Mark actually has won. So again, we're on a raised stage, and Mark's in a chair. He's all the way, as you're looking at the stage, he's all the way on the right-hand side, and he goes, "Yay!" like this, falls out of his chair, falls off the stage onto the floor. I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" He kept saying, "Oh, I'm okay," but he laid there for a few seconds, got up and, apologized for the dramatics and everything, but that was pretty darn scary. Now, I'm on his Twitter feed right now. He goes, "At C2E2, took a nasty spill off the stage after winning the Silver Age Trivia Contest. Hit my head." Yeah, that's right, because he was holding his head. "I've checked out okay, but my last words on Earth were very nearly red kryptonite. I need to rethink my life." So, I mean, you can laugh about it now, but it was kind of scary there for a minute.
I guess so, if he's just sitting around, waiting there for a couple minutes. No, I'm good, but you're not really sure if he's not getting up. That doesn't always bode so well.
And a lot of the categories, Craig decided to, he said, multimedia, or like Hollywood right now. Like there was a category on Flash, category on S.H.I.E.L.D., category on, Gotham, category on Green Arrow, category on the Avengers, category on Ant-Man, all about the Silver Age stuff. And it was fun. And of course they would, honk in early, and a lot of times they honked in too early. Like I guess the toss-up for Ant-Man was, whose brainwave patterns, somebody honks in right away and goes, Simon Williams! And it's like, let me finish the question. And of course it was about who puts their brainwaves on Ultron? And of course, the answer was Hank Pym. So, a lot of fun stuff. You would have probably. I don't know how well you are with Silver Age trivia, Murd. I mean, you're okay on our show here.
I can hold my own, thanks.
I know, Mr. Mohabu, but
I don't come anywhere near Mark Waid, of course. But so were they penalized any points if they?
no, they were not penalized.
Answered incorrectly.
No, you did not lose any points. Right? You just might have lost control of the question there, the round.
I was thinking in the old college quiz bowl format was if you buzzed in early and answered a question incorrectly, you lost
right.
5 points.
Yeah, they actually had one of the guys in the audience do the scorekeeping on a nice big tote board. So I was up there writing. I said, "Oh, you missed a point there," but So, but I mean, the audio. We can always look back at the audio and see what happened there. There was even, one of the cool categories was, of course, well, there's famous first who appeared, but like also first words. They would have the first words a character would say in the comics, and you had to guess who the character was.
Jeez.
Interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, and they were pretty hilarious. I got one of them. One of them was he read off Poison Ivy's first words, and I knew it. I turned to John, man, I got Poison Ivy, and I was right. I go, yeah. that was a lot of fun. But yeah, they had so many other comic panels things. I was on the floor. I was in Artist Alley. I was doing interviews, so I didn't really get a chance to go to any of the panels. But the one, gosh, let me just pull it up here if I can. That sort of made the rounds. I think also even the forum thread. Now I can't find it. There's going to be a Dark Knight 3.
Right.
Oh yes, I did see that.
It was officially announced. Now, of
That
course,
is one tidbit of information I did catch this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be co-written by Miller and Brian Azzarello.
There you go.
Okay.
And they haven't. Apparently, Miller's not going to draw it though. They still haven't ironed out and/or announced an art team.
Okay.
But it's going to be an 8-issue series.
Okay.
I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I want to sit down and reread the second one again
Oh, so yeah,
because
Dark Knight Returns 3. Yeah.
that one didn't bowl me over by any stretch of the imagination, as I don't think it did with a lot of people. I mean, some people liked it, and that's fine. But I don't know. It's been a long time for a third one to come out now. But we'll see. I'd be interested to pick it up and see what it's about.
But those people who've lost faith in George Lucas as a creator. I mean, Miller is well, similar to these new Star Wars movies, not being within the creative stranglehold of George Lucas. Miller has now gotten a collaborator, someone who's a little more up to date with current creative trends.
Yeah.
And maybe he has a slightly stronger idea of what made the original Dark Knight Returns an effective story in the first place than Miller has retained after all these years.
Yeah,
and will
maybe
curb Miller's, how do I put this, his urge to stir the pot, to just flip a subtle bird to the people reading every once in a while.
Yeah.
So maybe Azzarello will be a mitigating influence there. It's going to be called Master Race.
Oh,
Okay.
That's the subtitle for this third Dark Knight thing. And I agree with you that DK2 was a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
That's something I'd like to read again because, when it first came out, I didn't really have, and I don't necessarily still have much of a critical eye at work, and have struggle sometimes with like looking at it critically. And from what I remember, it wasn't that well received at the time from
That's what I remember
from
too.
the public. Yeah. But I want to give it another read. There's so many other things I'd love to reread again, but that's one of them, to give it another shot. Quite frankly, I don't remember too much about it. It's been.
I read it pretty recently.
Oh,
did you?
I didn't like the treatment of Superman in the least.
Okay.
That's what I took away from it for the most part. That this was a Batman guy who was doing the. Who was not showing much courtesy to fans of his favorite character's rival. Mm-hmm. And so one quote from Miller that I read was that Batman remains his favorite character, and that he welcomes this last opportunity to put his stamp on it, with a little help this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, DK2, I just was not feeling it.
Not so much.
Yeah. And at C2E2, DC did not have a presence on the floor. They had a lot of creators there, but they did not have a booth.
Yeah.
Marvel had a booth. There was a Valiant booth. There was an Image booth. I'm trying to remember all the other. Devil's Due had a booth. But they had no DC presence there. And I think of course they're moving out to California, so
Yeah.
that's
Probably
one thing.
didn't
They're
help.
probably in the middle of putting where their things. I don't know, but because I had a couple folks ask me, "Oh, is there no? There are no DC presence here at the show." But yeah, I'm struggling to think of some of the other reports that came out of Chicago. I'm sure we'll.
Did you talk about things that you picked up at the show?
Oh, actually, I don't think I did. I did a little back issue diving because the shopping was very good. I am now down to needing 36 issues to complete the original Daredevil run.
Wow.
And of those 36, I need the first 11. So there's only 25 scattered. Others, some in the Miller era. Got a lot of $2 books there. So that was good shopping. I picked up. Go ahead.
And the Daredevil thing, you just started getting that within the last couple of years?
Yeah, probably at one of the Wild Pig sales. I think I might have picked up a chunk.
Wow.
And, well, I mean, anybody can do it. It's just going to shows and finding issues.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
skill involved in
No,
that.
no,
It's
it's just impressive that you've gotten that far that quickly.
Well, I'm not sure it's impressive at all, but,
It is to me.
I'd like to read it.
I search for things for years and don't find them sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say what I'm searching for because people might find it, but there's a white whale you're
Yeah,
trying to find it.
yeah.
Did you get that when I showed the link for eBay?
No, I have to do that.
Are you
I have
gonna
to
get
do
it,
that.
though?
I'm considering it because it would sure save me some time. And
Okay.
It's around the price I would pay for it anyway if I found it all by itself.
Okay. I don't
yeah.
want to say what it is on there. People might just say, "Oh, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
it," and
no, I don't want that.
Okay. But so I got a bunch of Daredevil issues. Like I said, I mentioned the Legendary Star-Lord. I got a couple of Silver Age Justice League books for $5 each.
Nice.
I am now down to only one issue I need of Marvel 2-in-1.
Wow.
That's the Thing team-ups, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
I only need one issue of that. I bought the annual number 2.
Okay, which is the Jim
Thanos.
Starlin Thanos story.
And of course, when I bought that, I had to buy part 1, which is the Avengers annual number 7. So I have those two to read. I know I could have read them in reprints, but I'm more of an issues guy.
Now you don't have a large Avengers collection.
No, I don't. Not
So-
as far as, well, I've got plenty of copies of issue 239. I'll tell you that.
So if you go to put your stuff in order, would you take that annual and stick it with the storyline or keep it in alphabetical?
I would put it with the title.
Okay. See, I don't do it with that kind of stuff. If I don't have a large amount of the title, I put it with whatever it relates to keep the storyline together.
Well, I do have a section where I have all the Eclipso annuals, because that's storyline. All the Armageddon annuals, that was a storyline. But at some point when I'm ready to do some organizing, I think, well, see, actually, I think about it. This is me back in the 90s. I think I might have 2 copies of each of those. One for the actual runs of the titles, one for the second.
I've done that a couple times myself.
90s. 1990s.
I
I
have
know a
done
guy in
that
New
a couple
Jersey will give you a
times.
quarter apiece for those.
Yeah.
Sell all your extra copies.
Yeah, I know. I also picked up quite a lot of the Marvel team-ups as well. I'm down to probably less than 10 issues of that to complete that run.
Wow.
I found the remaining current Electra issues I didn't have. And when I say found, I mean like mostly in dollar bins. Picked up some Fables issues I didn't have. I'm trying to think if there's any other big purchases I made as far as the comic. Nothing really jumps out. Just a lot of things to fill up some holes in my collection there. And I got after Friday, I had to say, wait a minute, I better slow down because my suitcase was like packed. I didn't check a bag. I just carried it onto the plane. And I was like, Jesus, money, I can't get that much stuff in here. I don't think I should get any more. So only about 1 or 2 issues. And I actually found a few little tchotchkes for you guys, but I forgot them back at home. Well, I'll tell you one of them, at Marvel's booth, they had prints of the Scotty Young Star Wars cover.
Nice.
So I have that for you.
Excellent.
Also for the studio, there's a fold-out of Secret Wars Battle World, showing all the worlds and the map
wow.
of that, but I forgot to bring that along. Oh, and, well, there's a lot of folks said hi to you guys, and
Hi back.
yes.
Hi, all you people.
Hi-ho. Yeah, get the camera off of me for a little while, please, for the love of God. Although I guess I was yapping on and on there for a while.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah,
the person talking.
I know.
If it's not, it's just us going.
Well, again, the most important thing is the audio. This video thing is just, it's all a work in progress. Gosh, anything? I didn't get any sketches. I was just there. to enjoy the show, to meet some of the listeners, and actually did quite a lot of interviews. I don't know if you guys saw, but I spoke to Steve Bryant, called with Brent Schoonover. Again, when I go to these shows and do interviews, it's tough for me to walk up to somebody who I don't necessarily know and say, "Can you talk to me?" or do it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Well, that feels kind of funny. But mostly everybody there I pretty much knew, and I just took a few minutes of the time. I didn't want to, just catching up. You know, it's been 10 years of the podcast. We've known some of these guys almost as long as that. Now, I didn't interview Mike Norton, but we had a very nice chat, Mike Norton and I. So, you know, not for the air, but that was just very nice. Matt made me give him a bro hug. And,
Yes, I saw that go back and forth in the emails.
yeah, because I haven't seen him in a while, and so we had a very nice chat before the show on Friday. But I said for the podcast, Steve Bryant about his Kickstarter campaign. Talked to Brent Schoonover, because he's really doing some good stuff right now. He's like, "What are you looking at, Shane?"
Nothing. I can hear wind going.
You can hear
by or
wind
something.
going. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's me.
The wind.
It's me yapping my hot air here. But he's you know, of course, he did Batman '66.
Yeah,
He did some Phantom, and now he got to do the Ant-Man annual coming up.
that's very cool.
So yeah, it's good for him. I spoke to J.K. Woodward, caught up with him because he had issues of Behemoth come out. He did actually the variant cover for one of the Valiant issues that they were selling at C2E2, and he sold the cover at C2E2 there while he was doing his signing. When first kind of I said, "I'll buy it." Do your listen to the episode. I'm not telling you the whole episode right now. Talked to Katie Cook.
Oh, haven't seen her in ages.
I'm trying to think who else I spoke to. I talked to Lee Weeks, but we talked outside of the hotel as we were because there was a fire in the hotel we were staying at. Listen to the episode for that scintillating conversation. And then I spoke to a man named Elliot Rahal, 1L. He's a friend of Steve Bryant. He knows him because he came by after I finished talking to Steve Bryant, and he saw I was wearing my Letterman gear. And he goes, "Oh, are you a Letterman fan?" I said, "I sure am." He goes, "I used to intern for Letterman." I said, "Stop right there." We did a quick recording. He's written for Dark Horse.
Get out.
He also interned for Marvel, and he's Bobby Rahal's nephew. So I thought, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Told the story about some things he did on the show for an intern, and actually was on camera a few times. So that was nice.
Yeah, no doubt he's got stories.
Yes. So yeah, what are you doing, Shane?
Nothing. Turn in my headset thing.
So yeah, I had a very good time at Chicago. You guys missed me when I was gone.
Yes.
You bet.
Now see, since all these microphone stands and everything's gone, now everyone's looking at every little movement. What are you doing? What are you messing with?
Yeah,
What are you pushing?
sorry.
What are you doing?
It's like, "Oh, Bird, do you have your nameplate? Put your nameplate in front of you, for God's sake! Come on! I forgot you didn't even have it there. You have the camera on him?
It's on him.
Okay, it's his crisis."
All right, I'm using the monitor here as reference.
Adam Murdo, staff crisisologist.
Completely useless. Yeah, there we go.
We need a little shadow. The bright white of the light.
Nice Scrabble ornament here. Bizarro.
Yes,
Christmas present that arrived this year.
very cool. Well, of course, now it's the obligatory time for...
Oh, yeah, there we go. First time with the arrow.
This, my friends, this is what an Earhart looks like.
And now, once again, it's time for our trivia contest, Muddle the Murd, where listeners can send in questions 3 via publishers and decades to try to muddle our murd, and if they are successful in all 3 attempts, they win a prize. And what they're going for right now, we will show you on our brand new webcam we have here for the studio, but at home, or on the road river, it's a Whilce Portacio Hulk headshot. This could be yours if you muddle
Move it
the
that
murd.
Move it away from you
Move
a
it that
little
way.
Move it that way?
A little bit more.
A little more?
A little more.
A little more.
A little
more?
more. There you go.
That's good enough.
Again, it's a work in progress, folks.
Now to your right. To your right.
To my, like that?
There you go.
That's good. I'm not going to hold here very longer, guys, because I got to read
good.
the questions here. But that's
Okay.
what you're playing for. And our contestant for this episode is Chris Brawley, Brawlinator on the forums. He's got it here phonetically, and I still almost mispronounced it.
Yeah, he's given us as much help as we should need.
Yes. All right. He goes, "Hey, guys, I love this podcast, and I can frequently be seen stirring things up on the comic forums. I've been listening for about 2 years and have always wanted to try my hand at muddling Adam. So here's my first crack at it. Thanks for all the fun times and infotainment you supply us comic geeks with. Excelsior.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Question 1, pre-1970s independent/Archie comics. Oh boy, these are kind of wordy, but hey, here we go. In the mid-60s, Frank Doyle began writing many stories for Life with Archie, and wrote all the stories featuring the Riverdale gang as superheroes. Archie and friends became superheroes and battled a host of bizarre supervillains in a series of tongue-in-cheek adventures. Archie Andrews becomes Pureheart the Powerful when... Man, this is long. Archie Andrews became Pureheart the Powerful when Archie attempts to tap into the pH factor, a superpower only accessed by those pure of heart. Pureheart is super strong, super resilient, and can fly using his jet boosters. However, his powers only exist as long as his heart is pure, leading to embarrassing situations such as him losing his powers after an appreciative kiss from a damsel in distress. In Life, boy, here we go to the question. In Life with Archie number 46, published in 1966 in February, the origin of the superhero persona Pureheart the Powerful is finally given an origin story. Oh boy. What was the name of the book in which Archie Andrews learns of the pH factor and discovers how to turn to Pureheart the Powerful?
Gosh. Chris, if you only could have asked me this question maybe 2 or 3 summers ago, I have a collection of all these old, well, not all of them, but a lot of these old Pureheart the Powerful, Captain Hero, Super Teen, etc. stories.
Is this part of the Red Circle?
No. That's
something different?
Yeah, we're not talking about like the Shield and...
oh, that's right. That's actual Archie superheroes.
Right. This is not MLJ or...
Gotcha.
So these are Archie characters in costumes with superpowers. It all spun out of the whole 1966 Batman TV superhero craze.
Gotcha.
So I could have answered this question correctly at that point, but I can't even hazard a guess now.
Oh, okay. The book was called Happy Hallucinations and How They Happen, and Archie is seen reading it in an old bookstore.
Happy Hallucinations and How They Happen.
All right. Question 2, 1970 to 1990 DC. Now, I know he said he was listening for 2 years, so he may not know of your previous cosplay. Listen along.
All right.
In the short-lived series Prez, which Murd actually cosplayed as on more than one occasion.
So I did, but I can't claim to have read every single issue of the short-lived series.
Oh, okay.
It was like 5 issues long, I believe.
Something like that. No, I think it was 10, because issue 10, I think I had Supergirl on the cover, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was Supergirl number 10.
Oh, Supergirl number 10. My mind. That's why you're the Murd and I'm not the Murd. Anyway, the short-lived series Prez by Joe Simon and Jerry Grandinetti, an 18-year-old boy is hired as a front by the shady businessman Boss Smiley to run as the first teen senator of the United States after an amendment to lower the eligibility ages passed. After eventually cutting ties to the unscrupulous Boss Smiley, Perez Rickard ran and won the election for the presidency of the United States. Who did Perez Rickard select as his vice president?
I believe the answer to that is his mother.
He selected his mother, Martha Rickard, to be his vice president. His frequent collaborator, Eagle Free, a Native American who taught him his fighting skills, was appointed as secretary of the FBI.
Right.
All right.
I could have answered Eagle Free, too.
Well, no showing off here. And question 3, post-2000 Marvel. In the 2009 series Captain Britain and MI-13, issue number 10, Dr. Doom and Count Dracula meet at an Apollo landing site on the moon to agree to a non-aggressive pact in order for Dracula to be unopposed in his conquest of the United Kingdom with his army of vampires and other supernatural villains, Lilith, Captain Fate, and Baron Blood. Where's my bottle of water, for goodness sake? Oh my God. Excuse me a second. Oh, that's good water. During this surreal encounter, what armor defense does the king of Latveria boast of that would protect him against an attack by the king of the vampires?
Okay, so how would Doom have wired his armor with one of the traditional supernatural weaknesses of vampires? I don't know. He had it buffed with garlic.
Answer: the always prepared Doom claims that his armor contains splinters of the true cross,
Cross. Okay.
insinuating that bits of the cross of Jesus Christ are embedded in his suit.
That actually was going to be my third or fourth guess.
Given his penchant for time traveling, I suppose it's possible. All right, and he says, whether or not I successfully muddled Murd, I am happy to have had my questions selected. I can always try again. You haven't heard the last of me, Brawlinator. Oh
Brawlinator
my
Lady
God,
Bach.
that was a lot of words, wasn't it? Boy, like I said, I'm so.
Can't blame a guy for being thorough.
No, that's fine. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I want to before I forget, I want to mention that as we record this, it's before this Saturday, which is May 2nd, which is Free Comic Book Day.
Yep.
And of course, Chris cannot be here tonight, either in person or on the Skype. So I want to mention that they're having an event at Wild Pig Comics this weekend, Saturday, May 2nd and May 3rd, both days, 12 to 6. They're actually going to have open gaming at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. But a full day of special events, sales and celebrations, half off all trades, 25% off all magazines, 25% off all new comics, 25% off all used trades, and 25% off their over 30,000 50-cent back issues.
Wow.
And 10% off all key issues, which are already well below guide price. Though, of course, free comics. You can get up to 2 copies of each of the comic book titles that are free while supplies last. And they have their famous raffle Saturday at 3 p.m. Of course, you must have to be there to win. It's $1 per ticket. And some of the items are a Batman 66 Adam West bust, a Batman and Joker by Dick Sprang black and white statues in the same lot, Batman by Francis Manapul black and white statue, the Joker and Harley Quinn statue, Batman by Dave Johnson black and white statue. Of course, he has artist editions. The John Romita Amazing Spider-Man artist edition, the Kelly Jones Batman Gallery edition, from Graffiti, which is very similar in the scheme to the ones that IDW puts out, blah, 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 as well as John B. Simmons Silver Surfer. And they also have some omnibuses, Volume 2 Avengers with the Alex Ross variant cover, Volume 1 by Busick and George Perez, the Marvel 75th Anniversary Omnibus, and the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns Volume 1 Omnibus. They also have a one huge lot of Marvel Select Avengers action figures, Captain America, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Thor. And raffle tickets are $1 each. Now, unfortunately, I cannot attend this weekend. Something else has come up. So if you're looking to get any of those things that I normally get, those Arts Edition books,
This is the weekend to do it.
this is the weekend to do it. So run, don't walk to Wild Pig Comics this Saturday.
Right. And word coming down the Wild Pig pipeline is that this is going to be the last Wild Pig event raffle
Yes.
in the foreseeable future. Because
Yeah. Just we know it's the last one for the fruit. We don't want to get into why, but there are reasons why, which we'll talk about maybe later on there, because they're going to do a different format later on then. But we don't want to put that out there too much because it's hush-hush.
sensitive, yeah.
Yes.
Still locked in the vault.
So locked in the vault. So check out Wild Pig Comics. Now, are you going to the sale, Murd?
I'm still planning to, yeah.
Oh, very good.
Chris has bought those tickets to get to the Avengers movie the night before, and so I guess I'll be the one to represent Comic Geek Speak this time around.
Excellent. And I think I have something for you to take along for the listeners as well. I think you have some of the Jamie D buttons to hand up once you get a Jamie D button, because unfortunately, Saturday, May 2nd is the 1-year anniversary of Jamie's passing.
Yeah, I
That's
realized
right.
that today.
That's right. The day before Free Comic Book Day.
Yes.
That's when it happened last year.
Yes. All right. Anything else you guys have read recently you want to chat about at all?
I'm striving to keep going on my World's End books. I'm up to maybe 10 or 12 now. Some interesting things happening, following some of the Graysons through some adventures. I didn't expect that. I'm enjoying them well enough. I'm looking to get done them in time to finish them, in time to read Convergence, so that all works out and I don't miss anything there. But between that, yes, not comic book related. It was recommended to me to read a book, forget the author, called Ready Player One. Never heard of it.
Why does it sound familiar to me?
Well, it was recommended to me by somebody at work because they caught wind of it, having found out that Steven Spielberg has optioned it to make a movie.
Okay.
This, the book, the little synopsis that he gave me, which interests me, is it's very 80s pop culture referenced heavy. The first page has a reference to Ghostbusters, so I loved it right away. It has to do with a Steve Jobs type guy creating a virtual reality world that almost everybody goes into. He ends up passing away and leaves his $2.whatever billion estate to whoever can find the Easter egg in the virtual reality world. And everyone goes and starts searching for it. And I've only gotten through the first chapter or so, which just kind of sets up. It's somewhat post-apocalyptic in that there's a big energy crisis, so food, water, energy is all in short supply. People go to school by going into this virtual reality thing rather than going to an actual school. It follows the story of a kid who is trying to find the Easter egg, and that's all the further I got. But just the amount of references in the first 30 pages alone, some of them had little annotations at the bottom of the page explaining a little bit more about it. He talks about Star Wars and Star Trek and old video games. Family Ties comes up once. It just seemed like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to read that. So in between trying to read all these comic books, I'm trying to get a few pages of this book in to keep going with that.
Okay.
But I'll be excited if I get it done and then Spielberg ends up making a movie of it. Sounded
cool.
really neat.
Murd, do you want to go through our...
Oh, the mailbag?
Yeah, the mailbag.
Okay, we do have a few things sitting over here, most of them addressed specifically to me. Here's
You
one
are
thing
the
that...
You are the Murd.
I can't deny it. This is just a preview copy that was sent to us, not exactly to my attention, but I'm keeping it anyway. We talked about this in our last previews episode. It's The League of Regrettable Superheroes, written by John Morris, published through Quirk Books. And it's got an alphabetical, it's broken down by age of superhero history and also alphabetically within each age. But it's just a list of 100+ different really bizarre, offbeat comic book characters. Like I just randomly turned to Kangaroo Man's page.
Choice, I never heard of that before. Is that a... Wow, I never heard of that before.
Great Comics Publications. The minor... here's Rainbow Boy. I'd heard of Rainbow Man before. He was one of the characters that Alex Ross optioned for use in his Project Superpower. So here's Stardust the Super Wizard by Fletcher Hanks. I was going to show you guys an image of the Captain Marvel. Here we go, the Silver Age non-faucet Captain Marvel. The guy who, by yelling
that's right, with
split.
the split. You mentioned that in a previous episode.
Courtesy of Mr. Cosmic's Muddle the Murd attempt. There he is. He's saying split, and his limbs are flying off into the ether. So yeah, there's a lot of kooky fun awaiting anyone who picks this up and reads it. It goes from the Golden Age all the way up through roughly the present. Oh, here's Marvel's version of a Scarecrow, not the Iron Man villain, not Ebenezer Laughton, but the supernatural Scarecrow, later renamed the Straw Man to avoid confusion. He's one of the Fear Lords who encountered Doctor Strange and was also seen in Kieran Gillen's run of Journey into Mystery a while ago. Apparently, he's regrettable.
And I can also tell you, it smells pretty good when he was wafting through the pages. It was all coming this way. I'm like, ooh, that's
You're downwind there.
That's some good.
Take a look at
good
it.
page smell.
And if you see anything that's too bizarre to be believed, just shout it out. Give it a rhino. And now we have a couple of envelopes to open up. I think I already know the content of two of them.
Okay.
The people who sent them contacted me ahead of time to let me know to expect them.
Well, there's Moon Girl Battle in the Jungle.
Oh my goodness, Battle of the Congo.
Congo.
There we are. All right, this first one then comes from a very nice couple that I had the good fortune to meet at the London Super Comic Convention back in March. Their names are Ryan and Helen Rogers, and they are originally from South Africa but now reside in Scotland. And I had a nice long talk with them at the London Convention and enjoyed it very much. And they told me that they were going to be going on a cruise to the States within the next month, and they've already been and gone, and apparently had a very good time. I recommended that Helen, she and I both enjoy a hard cider every now and again. And I suggested she try Angry Orchard, since it's the most widely available, I'd say, form of hard cider to be had here in America. A lot of bars have it on tap, and so I don't know if you tried it, Helen, but I hope you did, and I hope you enjoyed it. And they told me that they would like to send me this graphic novel entitled Rebirth, and it is a South African product. Let's read the blurb on the back here. The realities of the quarantine are starting to bite for the last few... Oh, there's vampires involved. Starting to bite for the last few surviving vampires in Africa, bound by council decree to remain in Johannesburg. The council in Europe, meanwhile, feels that this solution is more than generous under the circumstances. Cassia couldn't care less either way. She has other things on her mind. So it's kind of a fusion of real-life South African history and politics and a vampire story. And they were telling me about it, and it sounded really interesting. And so they've sent it to me. It's by Daniel Browd and Josh Ryba. And I've got it here, and I will read it. And I fully intend to pass it along to Chris and Brian and anyone else who might be interested in checking it out afterwards, because it's got hints or touches of real-world geopolitics mixed in with vampires, which is always
I
a fun combination.
I like the vampire angle.
So thank you very much, Ryan and Helen, for sending this along to us, sharing a little bit of the graphic literature of their native land. And here then is package number 2. Received an email from the listener who said he was going to send this along to me after hearing me mention this particular mini-series in a recent previews episode, because it has just been solicited as a hardcover collection from Boom Archaea.
Okay.
And the listener, his name is Anthony, last name withheld by request. And he said that he would like me to have his copies of the 7 issues of this miniseries. And it is, okay, here's his note. Adam, enjoy the books if you ever actually get around to reading them.
Yeah, I had to explain to somebody out at C2E2 how your to-read pile works. As best, because somebody asked me, by the way, if I digress, somebody had asked me, how does he know so much about some of the current books? Because you do know something about, and I said, he told me at one point that he skims them. Is that still true?
To the greatest extent possible. I don't get a chance to flip through every single thing that enters in my possession as I buy it, but especially things that look like they might be important to the broader state of affairs in a company's continuity, or if it looks like we might talk about it on the show, or if it looks like it might be an interesting thing for me to talk about as an off-the-rack personal pick at some point. Then I'll give it a more thorough look. But yeah.
It just came out of conversation with somebody at a C2E. I said, I think he skims. Anyway, back to you, sir.
Yeah. How my to-be-read pile works.
Yes.
My answer there might be, how does a malignant tumor work? It's about the same. Just keeps growing and growing.
Yeah.
So here it is. 7-issue miniseries, The Last Broadcast. It's a publication of Archaea and Boom. And it's about a team of urban explorers who happen upon the secret crypt of a great stage magician, and what adventures precipitate from that. It sounded interesting to me, just the whole Urbex angle, because this is actually something that people do. It's not entirely legal all the time, but it's kind of like the whole parkour free running thing, where people explore urban geographies and topographies by running around on rooftops and jumping from building to building. Well, urban explorers do kind of the same thing, except they keep their feet on the ground, and instead of running around and endangering life and limb, they do some creative trespassing. And they go to places that are behind fences and locked doors in major cities, and just discover what secrets there are to be found in urban areas. And it's really quite interesting to me. And this it's subtitled An Urban Exploration Adventure, so it's a look into that world. Created by Andre Serangelo and Gabriel Umazark. And Anthony also, he wasn't looking to... He went out of his way to say he wasn't looking for a mention on the show, but I assured him he would get a thank you at the very least. And he included a little, fairly impassioned appeal to everyone listening at home to support independent publishers like, in particular, Archaea, a little more often, as Marvel and DC, the big two, keep on giving you inflated cover prices for less bang between the covers. Meanwhile, Archaea is giving people things like the new Fraggle Rock miniseries and Feathers. These are two series that Anthony identified as standouts. Better cover stock, better paper stock, and a certain percentage of the time, better content. So he encourages folks to, he agrees with my hesitancy to pay $3.99 for a 32-page comic from Marvel and DC. I can justify, however, paying that much for a comic of the same length from an independent publisher because they don't have the same resources that Marvel and DC have, and they can't afford to have the same size print runs and all that. So with Marvel and DC, it's really more of a greed thing, but it's kind of more of an economical necessity for small publishers. And so he urges people to get out there and buy more indie books, and Archaea in particular. So thank you very much, Anthony. I look forward to reading this, and I will sound off on it on the show. I probably owe it to you at the very least to move this up in the reading pile to at least 2005.
Give it more than a skim, then.
Right, and this is the surprise in the pile. It has all the earmarks of an Eamon Clark missive. In fact, it even has his name on the front here.
Yes.
Mr. Eamon Clark.
He's Dr. Eamon Clark.
We know that. We know that, but
Caliban on the forums.
Apparently, Sight Savers or the Royal Mail didn't know that or didn't ask.
I would never shortchange the man.
I wouldn't either. Let's see. He doesn't close a note. Adam, look what I found in the back issue bins at the first Birmingham Comics Festival. Maybe more of the print run crossed the pond than previously thought. Another gap in the collection filled.
Uh-oh.
Cheers from Shunny.
Could it be?
Wow.
Could it be?
It's two comics. No, wait, it's one comic. But there's a backboard taped over it.
They're secured.
Aha!
274!
274!
I thought that's what it was going to be. GI Combat 274.
Uh-huh.
Show the folks at home where get the thing out of the way there.
I keep forgetting that that's a possibility
yes!
now. You can show people.
Right.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Here we go, and here's Jeb Stewart versus Attila the Hun right there on the first
And does
page.
that have the full first frontal monitor?
Or
dorsal monitor? Is it dorsal or frontal?
It is a dorsal
There's
monitor.
a dorsal
yes.
monitor.
Yes, we won't get the ventral monitor until sometime later on, but yet there he is. It's the first time we get a really complete idea of what he looks like.
Oh.
So it's the back of his head. You see the little metal armor-plated epaulettes on his shoulder there.
Oh, hey. Let me, I'm going to go to, well, keep talking about it and I'll show it on camera 4 then.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's our close-up webcam.
You let me know how close am I here, Shane, to that.
Go up.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
All right.
So, yep, it is General James Ewell Brown Stewart, the ghost haunting the haunted tank, which at that point in time was a Sherman tank. It's been a couple of different tank models over the years of its appearances in GI Combat.
All right, back to him.
Back to the Murd.
That's awesome.
That's
Yep,
great.
and he's the only one in this story who notices that the monitor is present.
Wow.
So that's a nice way of working the monitor in without disrupting the flow of. I think it's still Bob Kanigher writing this at this point. It is indeed Bob Kanigher.
Well, Eamon, you are aces.
You
That's
certainly
that is
are.
awesome.
Wow.
You're a physician and a scholar, Mr. Eamon Clark. Thank you very much.
Dr. Eamon Clark.
Yes, well, I said he was a physician. Well,
Mr. Doctor.
I'm not disagreeing with the Royal Post.
I know.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, for sending this across the pond. You've been kinder to us here at CGS over the years than we will ever deserve.
Very true.
Beautiful stuff.
So there's our CGS mailbag for this installment, and I'm taking all of it home.
Yes, you are. You are. Well,
Now you know how I felt when you guys got all that Doctor Who swag
that's right.
Yeah.
the other week.
Well,
and Danny did take some of that home with her, by the way, when we recorded the Infinity Gauntlet.
Did she?
episode. Yeah,
we gave her one of the Daleks, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, that is her favorites.
Yep. Well, on one of the comic talks, I think not too long ago, actually, before we even had any thought of doing the cameras that I was aware of in the studio here, I had moved some of my comics in my house from like downstairs to upstairs, and I came across a lot of my Silver Age books that I didn't know where they were. And I found them now. So I grabbed a few things out there, and a couple of ones that I grabbed sort of have a tie-in to, not a tie-in, but are being talked about in some current upcoming movie and TV shows. So I thought I'd go through them right now. If you want to switch to the camera here, Shane, while I discuss them. The first one that I dug out of the collection I was going to talk to. By the way, am I close to where it should be here, Shane?
Down
bit.
a little bit towards the seat, and then forward some, away from you.
Like that?
A little bit more.
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 Okay.
More.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. So this is my copy of Showcase number 20, the
Nice.
first appearance of Rip Hunter Time Master.
And you let me touch it.
I did let you touch it.
Nice.
As we were experimenting with the camera angles for this cam. earlier.
Yes. And as was recently mentioned in the upcoming, I think at this point that I know of, not the word.
Untitled?
Untitled Arrow Flash.
Spin-off?
Spin-off. Rip Hunter's going to be a character in there, played by Arthur Darvill.
That's right.
So when I came across this, I said, "Holy cow! I never read this before." It's like a lot of times I buy comics like Murd and just forget to read them, but they're very, very, very old. And this actually is cover dated. As I open this up here, June of 1959. How does that look there on the camera there, Shane?
Okay. You
Okay.
could go up a little bit.
Like that?
A little bit more. There you go.
Okay.
Go to your right.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I probably should have prepared and pulled up Comic Book DB because, as a lot of comics from this era, the creative teams aren't really mentioned in the book itself, and you have to either people have done research and determined who wrote or drew stories, or sometimes they have just people who can tell art styles, which I'm still not. I mean, some people, yes, you clearly can tell who some artists are versus others, but like the art in this book, I would never know who did it had I not looked it up. Am I rambling along enough here to get to the pulled up here so I can tell you who the creative team is
You
for
are.
this issue?
You are.
Two people neither of us had ever heard of.
Well, this was written by Jack Miller and penciled by Ruben, oh boy, Moreira, Moreira. And it's called Prisoners of 1 Million BC, and it's the first appearance of Rip Hunter Time Master, who he predates Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Huh.
He didn't appear to issue 22 of Showcase. This is issue 20, which even predates, of course, the Atom in Showcase. And I've never read it before. Do you know much about Rip Hunter, Adam? Next camera, Shane. There we go.
Well, probably nothing you can't find out by reading his Who's Who entry. Let's put
Okay.
it that way. He invented the chronosphere, and his partner Jeff Smith was there to help him, and then Bonnie and Corky Baxter, the brother and sister duo, were there to round out the Time Masters team. And they just had adventures throughout the time stream. I don't even know how they chose which time eras they were going to visit, or what motivated these little adventures they had. If they're just exploring randomly or what. But
Okay. Yeah, and how am I doing, Shane? Okay?
Up to the right. A little bit more.
Good?
A little bit more.
Good.
There you go.
Okay. So this is, his first appearance, and it's just a really fun comic here. I really like the art. Like on some of these expressions on the face of the criminals who jump in. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I had no idea who this artist was. But, typical story, goes back in time. There's a second time sphere. And so one thing that caught my eye, I mentioned, but at some point during the story, Rip takes his shirt off to temporarily blind a dinosaur. But when you come back and see Rip Hunter, he has no nipples.
Of course not.
I don't know. I guess it had nipples back in the.
He travels in time.
Oh, jeez. I thought that was kind of funny. But because it's the actual comic, there's some funny stuff in here. There's a public service page here. It says, "Do you make life hard for yourself?" It's about cleaning up your room.
Go to your right, kind of over where the chair is, over top of the other book. There you go.
Okay.
Do you make life hard? That's funny.
It's like a babysitter. A girl doesn't want to clean up her room. She goes to babysit someone, and the kid's room is messy, and then she goes, "Oh, I better clean my own room." It's like crazy stuff. There's Palisades Park, amusement park. But anyway, prehistoric fun. So, there's a dinosaur album in the book here. Just interesting. And like I said, I never read it. And he appears in 4 issues of Showcase, issues 20, 21, after Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, then 25 and 26. So I don't have 2 of those issues. I have to track 2 of those down. And they might even be reprinted somewhere. I don't know. But I like having the actual issues. And I have the entire run of his series. He had a series in the 60s as well. I ran for, I think, 29 issues. Haven't read that as well. But there's some historical things in there. And I don't know if any other DC heroes make appearances. I don't believe they do.
Murd, hold that back up.
Oh, you're just going through the who's who, are you?
Oh, yes, I was. And I was doing so to get a good look at
I'm sure not a lot of people have seen what the bound copy of.
Well, I did put a couple pictures out there.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't claim that this is my property, folks. This kind of belongs to the studio. Was it Peter that had this made?
I'm not sure. Now, did we get some autographs in the front of the book
Yeah,
there as well
yep.
from some of the creators?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
I see Walt Simonson, Matt
Joe
Wagner.
Kubert.
Oh, we did get him to sign that. Oh, God. That's what we need to continue on with. Is that Greg LaRocque up there?
Mhm. Dick Ayers down here, Matt Wagner down there.
Oh, I got to. When's the next time? We have
Mike
to take.
Corral?
Is this Byrne?
No,
No, that's Walt Simonson.
Oh, right, the giant O. Okay. Carl Kiesel, Tom Mandrake, Jan Duursema, Jim Ballant,
Yeah.
Alex Savick.
Yeah, anybody who did an
Check
entry
Lynn
form
Ween.
in Who's Who should be in there.
Oh, Lynn Ween's a very important contributor. I'm glad
Yeah,
we got
yeah,
his
yeah.
name in there. What are we looking in the back
the
cover
very
now?
back.
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't remember.
I forgot that we actually were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever knew that we were doing that.
Oh, really?
I know we used to
So
take
you
this
skipped
along
the
with
first
this-
page of the bound edition. Then.
Well, yeah, I went straight to the content. Yeah, didn't look at any of the frontispiece here, the front papers. But yeah, we used to take this along to conventions all the time.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but I assumed we'd brought it along as reference in case we had to write trivia questions on the fly or
I
something.
think that may have been.
Well, we did.
Or just as a conversation piece as we were talking to listeners. But apparently we had a goal in mind, going around autograph hunting.
That was a bonus.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You put me on camera when I was
did,
drinking?
I did. As soon as you moved, you went to your right, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're taking a drink. We all do it. Here's my bottle.
Well, the other. Well, first of all, when I was at C2E2, looking at back issues, and I don't know enough about back issues to know what drives necessarily a prices up, collective like desirability. I've noticed a lot of the appearances of like movie characters, like first Thanos appearances.
Sure.
Draw some, got some money because of him appearing in the Avengers. A lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy have been getting their back issue prices going up. A lot of Harley Quinn is very popular. Well, I don't know about popular, but it's priced very high on the back issues. I don't know how well it's selling. Like her solo series, I think even some of her later issues, because again they are tail enders where they're lower print runs. Like I think issue 38 of her run can command quite a penny. I don't know if they get it for it.
I stopped reading that series long before it ended, thanks to A.J. Lieberman not being a very good writer. But so it's unfortunate, because if I had stuck with it, I might have been able to cash in.
You might have been able to.
Yeah, but I do have Kiesel's whole run, though.
Right. But because there's an upcoming Suicide Squad movie, which has been all over the internet with the Jared Leto Joker, which is, you can read that online. But I saw the 1987 #1 issue of Suicide Squad with $30 and $40 price tags on that.
Right out of town.
That's like a 50-cent book a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
I
So
wonder if I still have that.
I guess it's all speculation. Again, people smarter than I am know more about back issues and what drives them. I'm very curious about it. It's like I'm about artwork, but I'm very curious about it. And I was at that convention. Now, again, I don't know if they're actually selling for that, but they're trying to sell them for that price.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're making artificial demand with that or whatever.
Targeting people who maybe aren't that familiar with comics as a medium or a hobby, and just have heard news about the latest movie property coming out, and I don't know if those people would be interested in these things just for the thrill of reading the first appearances of the characters involved, or if they think they're going to make a mint by buying it and then reselling it later on.
Oh, I'm sure
as
there's
per the
some of
90s
that.
speculator market.
Right.
So Shane, how am I doing with the issue here right now? How am I
Go
doing?
over top the seat of the chair.
Yeah, there's so much glare on it right now you can't even tell what
How's
it is.
that?
And to your right
How's that?
and up.
Up?
No, I meant
Forward away from you.
forward away from you. Yeah, that's toward you. There you go.
There
Okay.
it is.
That's
so
perfect.
I have in my hand the first appearance of the Suicide Squad in
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold number 25,
Wow.
which predates the Justice League appearing in the
Right.
Brave
So
and the
we
Bold.
got Karen Grace and Rick Flag Sr. and Hugh Evans and Jess Bright. It's that Suicide Squad?
It's that Suicide Squad, also known as Task Force X. And this is a completely different concept than what most of us know the Suicide Squad as. We know them, I say we in the room mostly,
Yeah.
and probably most of the people listening out there, that it's a bunch of villains who are trying to get time off their
Pardoned.
sentence or pardoned and going on what could be suicide missions.
Yeah.
Led by Amanda Waller initially. So that's what we know. But this is how the concept started out. And let's see, how am I doing here if I do this, Shane?
Go away from you again. There you go.
Perfect.
So this is cover dated August to September of 1959, around the same time as Rip Hunter. And this is...
3 waves of doom.
Yes. The writer is Robert Kanigher. Pencils by Ross Andrew and inks by Mike Esposito. And yeah, a lot of the stories back in that time, at least with DC, you'd have 3 chapters in a story, like
Yeah.
3 Waves of Doom. So again, I won't go into too much of the details, but yeah, this is completely different from how the concept right now. What can you tell me about Rick Flag, Murd? What do you know about Rick Flag?
Career military man, that's all I know.
But yeah, they're formed together basically because they sort of survived things that they probably should have killed them. That's sort of how they became into Task Force X versus like being recruited. There's a Peter Porkchops thing in here.
Later known as Pig Iron of the Amazing Zoo Crew.
Really?
The same character, yeah.
Is there anything you don't know, sir?
But many, many,
Yeah,
many
I
things.
know, I kid. Part 2. So
There are
and
many
then,
things you know that I don't. Don't forget that.
Yes. So they sort of survived that, and that's how they're sort of brought together.
To the
and
right and forward, to the right and forward.
How's that?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, a completely different concept. Now, like I said, I hadn't read it before, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Look at that. Magic Vacation, Hollywood, Disneyland, Pacific Ocean Park.
Admission to Palisades Amusement Park. But there's, of course, there's a text piece, and they're fighting a monster that comes out of the ocean, and of course, all 3 of the guys on the team are all after Karen one way or the other there. And this is the first appearance. They appeared next in issues 26 and 27 of the Brave and the Bold, right before the Justice League took over. Well, not took over, but had their 3 issues.
Yeah.
And it says here, will the perilous journey of the Suicide Squad end in silence or triumph? Further adventures of this gallant band will be bound in the next issue of Suicide Squad.
To the right and forward. To the right.
All right. So that's that issue. And as far as their history, they appeared in issues 25, 26, and 27 of Suicide Squad. And then they actually had a return appearance. And let me make sure I get the exact first issue they started. Yeah, they started issue 37, 38, and then I believe also in 39 they had 3 issues. And it's interesting from what I know about the Silver Age. It's one of the concepts that had many tries, never became a full series until like 30, 25 years later, and then in '87 when it had its own series. And again, it was completely different.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of. I just happened to find that in my back issues. Oh my God! I had the first Suicide Squad there.
That's neat.
I think because the whole thing with the mentioning and actually I had this idea for like a segment of just like my like Patches back issue collection, but now that we have the video, I guess people can take a look at what I got there. So this actually I think was part of the Sterling collection, that Golden Eagle
Okay.
that I
Yep.
got as a Golden Eagle
remember that.
many years ago.
So this is not something you acquired recently. It's something that you had at home.
Oh no, I said it was in my box. It was in boxes that hadn't been moved for many years. So, but I know I got this at Golden Eagle, and I got this actually on the convention circuit at one point, the Rip Hunter issue there. So yeah, some 10-cent DC comics from the late 1950s. So yeah, I do have a pretty decent collection, which I need to get and read. just reading this stuff it's just so interesting. The concepts that come back today in different ways. I love the history of comics, and I need to just stop doing my other life and read comics full time.
Even just organized.
That sounds
it's
like
such
a plan.
a mounting task to organize that stuff too. If you're out of whack.
Yeah. Next, I would love to read the Rip Hunter series.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoops.
I hit the darkness button.
Oh, hit the darkness button. No,
Yeah.
no, you can't do that.
We went in the black hole.
Discreet fade to black.
Great. All right, well, does anybody have anything else to bring up in this cavalcade of comic talk?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
You all good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, like I said, our video is a work in progress. Hopefully it sounds a little better with us having these lavalier microphones clipped onto our lapels.
It's not such a rustle. That'll get worked out
You know,
over time.
again, like I keep saying, everything here is a work in progress. So again, this episode was brought to you by Geek Nation Tours. Go to geeknationtours.com to check out their package for the New York Comic Con this October, as well as go to Scribd. Go to scribd.com/comicgeekspeak for your free 30-day trial.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com to send us an email. The address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by The Comic Forums and let us know what you think of this episode, the video, the sound, the muddles, the issues. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We would like to thank everyone who contributes to this show. Thanks for all the mail. Thanks for the Muddle the Murd. Keep them coming. We would like to... I already did that. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you were psyched about going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything the geeks love. From kicks to laser beams, opinions like the seasons, and everything you read. And comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Geek Speak, Geek Speak, Geek Speak, Geek Speak, Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes.